Hello and happy Friday. So sorry, I said I'd be on here at 4 o'clock and I'm a little bit late today, but UPS came with my latest Stampin' Up! Shipment, and most of it's for customers. So if you're expecting something from me delivered here for me to deliver to you, chances are it's in that box, so that's a good thing. Hi Cindy, thanks for joining in. It was so fun to chat with you today. And Lisa, hello there too. So UPS came, and it's kind of fun to just see how he's doing with being kind of the guy in demand, with a lot of people doing more shipping and such too. So it was good to hear from him. He kind of says, yeah, it's kind of strange to pull up in your yard and not see lots of cars and have the ladies here cheering for him as he delivers goodies if it's Stamp Camp Day or something going on here. So so hopefully you guys have fun plans for the weekend. I know things aren't as easy to plan as it used to be, but still I'm hearing a lot of you still taking vacations and planning what you can. So I'm excited that that a lot of you are still able to do that as well. And hello, Julie. Julie just chimed in. She is the star of the hour. I'm not going to make my video an hour, so that's good. So, okay, right now I'm going to start in on Julie's card number 3 here. Here it is. I really debated about different things today, and I had some ideas in mind, and then I'm like, oh, what do I think of when I think of Julie? Julie loves coloring with blends. I didn't do that today, but I'll show you how I achieved this look. Julie is a classy lady, and one of her friends mentioned, I'm not gonna say who, but one of her friends mentioned she's kind of the Martha Stewart of Worthington when she used to live in Worthington. So how's that for a great compliment, Julie? So I thought, you know what? That kind of made me decide to go from one card idea to a classy card today. So I just was anxious to do this card too. So that's all good too, because I've kind of had this in my mind to do this card. Hi, Sue. And just know that next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I have a new hostess, Diane Menon from Truman, and I'm going to be doing 3 cards for her. So maybe what I had kind of starting in my mind for an idea might show up in one of her card sessions next week too. So just so you know, today is card number 3 of 3 for Julie's virtual stamp party. So I talked with her today, and she is saying that if you could get your order in by like next week, you know, even like Thursday or something, if you're planning on ordering, that way she has time to see where her host rewards sit and has some time to put that together before we have to close. And for sure, you know, even if any of you are thinking, oh, I want to quick do something with a group of friends, or even I have a large order myself, just remember that if you get to $250, there's an extra $25 in host rewards too. So that way you can get that done, and I'll be around. I try when it's like a promotion, end of the month type thing, June 30th, I plan to stay home as much as I can so I can catch any last minute things. And also if there's something that comes up and I need to contact Stampin' Up, then I can do that during the day too. So just keep that in mind. We've got lots of time, actually, it kind of feels like, but yet it's kind of like, we have to think about it. I'm always thinking about that too, just to make sure we don't miss out on anything. So today's card comes from Tasteful Touches. Just going to give you a little glimpse here because everything's backwards. I don't like to go over too much of it here right now. Hi, Maureen. I'm glad that you could join in live, and I'm just going to get to my Facebook Live up on my iPad here so that when I switch around the camera, I will know that I can see everybody. And that's kind of being slow. So maybe while that loads, I'm just going to go ahead and get my tripod back to this angle, like so. There we go. I'm actually going to pop it up just a little bit. There. Sometimes if I get it too low, it's almost too close, and then you don't see as much of the area that way too. Okay, so I'm going to come around, and there I am. So if you guys have questions or comments, I can read those too. So I will show you my card once again. facing the right way so that you can see. So now you can read that says, just saying hello. I love, love, love this font. So this is the whole Tasteful Touches stamp set, and that font is really fun. It's shown throughout there, and most of it has that type of font. This is pretty, I always call this like a square look because the letters are just so blocked, but not bold, but kind of a square look there. But I love it when there's some cursive to it, but yet really bold, so it's easy to read, especially, you know, if you're sending it to somebody that maybe is a little bit elderly. I know I appreciate it when I can read words. I have gotten invitations over the years, and sometimes it's almost hard to tell what or who you're being invited to if the cursive is just too much. So, so this image comes from the stamp set, the sentiment, and the flower. Okay, so let me show you, here we go, where this is all coming from. So if you like to follow along in your catalog, so yeah, let me know if you don't have this yet and want this, because it is a really good catalog. I keep saying over and over how much variety there is in there, something for everyone, something for everybody that you like to make cards for, not only yourself. Hi, Julie. Okay, so this is on page 122. It's called In Good Taste Sweet. And so with that, there is some really nice paper. I'm going to go into detail a little bit about the paper there. And then there's also an embossing folder that kind of has a nice textured look to that. And I used that a couple weeks ago, but still this month since it came out. And then I love the different colors that they kind of pop out with this. I mean, I'm almost tempted to just redo these cards here that they have as their samples. Okay, so here's the whole stamp set shown that way too. So the bundle's $48.50. With that, and so if you get the dies and the stamp set together, then there's that 10% savings. And I haven't really talked too much about, you know, the bundle savings, even though I've been showing some different bundles, but this is probably the first time, no, this is the first time that I'm actually doing the dies and the stamp set together. So I think all week or lately I've been doing the dies of this bundle of Tasteful Textures, or In Good Taste, if you go by that. And the dies are actually called Tasteful Labels, and I've been using them a ton. So yeah, so even like these fun little things can make fun, just backgrounds, just subtle backgrounds. And I did that on a card earlier this week too. So it's good for that as well. And here is the gorgeous paper. Love this paper. I know this is probably something that you guys were the most excited about when I did my sneak peek just before the catalog started. So this almost looks like fabric. I feel like I could sit on it like a chair or sofa or something. But then there's lots of wood grain, which I've been using in different projects too. Different types of wood grain and such, like so. And so there's just lots of fun stuff in there. And then what I'm using, I'm trying to see if I can get to it. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, here it is. Okay, it's on the very back. So what I'm using today is kind of reminds me of kitchen backsplash. And what's nice is they have kind of this brown tone too. I went ahead and ordered more than one packet, of course. So if I'm making cards and you're ordering through Julie's Party, don't be afraid or alarmed if you see that I kind of switched up the background, because maybe I didn't have enough of this. I'm doing that. I'm really trying to stick with when I'm sending out cards to you guys, trying to stick with things as much as possible for that. But sometimes like the enamel dots, when I just can't order more to get them here, that becomes a problem. So but if you have substitutions, it's probably because I ran out, couldn't get them in time, and I thought it was more necessary to get the card out to you too for a thank you note. Okay, so I am just taking, to start with, that pretty paper. I've already cut a swath of 5 1/4 by 3 pieces of 4 off. So I'm just going to show you kind of what I do here. So I'm doing 5 1/4, and then I'm going to cut 3 pieces, so I can make 3 cards at a time, 4 inches by 4 inches by 4 inches. So that is using some really good paper skills for the 12 by 12, and then what it leaves me is an 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to take 3/4 to split that in half. So I've now cut that in half, and then these both can be cut in 4, 4, and 4 to match up, and that I'm going to hopefully remember to use in the inside of the card. Do you ever do that? You get really excited about something, and then the card turns out and you kind of forget to do anything with it, the inside. Maybe it's just me. Yeah, Sue, I do feel like it's Friday. This is probably the first time like I really felt like it is Friday. Maybe it's because we do have plans again this weekend, you know, different things, baseball, graduation receptions. We'll be home a lot, but to have something on the calendar is kind of amazing too. So, hi Deb, hi Joyce, thanks for joining in. Okay, so the base that I'm going with for this card is the gray granite. And of course, I always put all my scraps back in my paper package here. I don't want those to fall out. Okay, so this is how I always start, you guys know. So lots of grays and neutral tones that tie in. So I could have went with basic gray today, gray granite or smoky slate. Both vanilla and white are in there too. So it was kind of my choice of grays. I even thought about pulling in, because there's kind of a little bit of a blue tone, and Night of Navy is one of the colors listed on the back too. Thought about pulling in like Misty Moonlight or something with that, but overall I really liked the tone of the gray granite with today's card. So I'm just going to set that aside, and then this is my inside piece for later, and then this is my sentiment that I'm going to die cut for later. So we're going to focus on the flower here. So I'm going to show you how I did that. So I'm going to start with my Memento black ink pad, and I'm just going to ink up the flower really well, like so, and I'm going to stamp that out. And I know Julie well enough to know that she really, really likes the Stampin' Blends. And I was, because there's Misty Moonlight, and that's the color I wanted to go with, I thought, oh, this will be perfect to do blends. Julie, you can do blends. I'm going to show everybody some watercoloring technique. I did that some in the last couple months, but since they've come out with new water painters. So in the catalog in the back with the accessories, there's a page that's full of lots of different accessories, and these water painters are kind of replacing the aqua painters. So there's 3 different sizes here, and I am just going to set aside the big one after I show you. So this is great for backgrounds. So look at how, I'm going to see if I hold it still, if the camera will zoom in on that. It's kind of fuzzy still, so I don't know if I put it in a different area, but anyway, it's, usually if I get it closer and just hold still, it'll pick it up, but it doesn't. Okay, so this is a really thick brush tip, and it's almost like, will it fit in the cap type thing? And I know it will once I get it wet and such. So there we go, it's back in the cap. So that's a great thick brush for if you're doing backgrounds and such. That's great for that. So I'm using the other 2 today. So one tip is kind of like a medium. Excuse me, my goodness. Glad I have something to drink. I just swallowed wrong, you guys. Sorry about that. And then the next one is just the next smallest tip down. Excuse me. Obviously, no, I'm on Facebook Live if I'm just choking here and can't do anything about it. Okay. So you saw the big tip and then the medium and the small. There, those showed up really well. Okay, so there's 3 different sizes. If you get these, this is my tip and my note. Other people struggled, so then I realized when I got mine what I needed to do. So when you go to fill them, because this whole tube, you just put your tap water in. And so your general question or thing that you want to do is just to twist it like you normally would, and you can't get this off. If you twist it the opposite way, then it unscrews the opposite way so that you can fill it with water, and then you can put your cap back on, which I almost wanted to do the normal way too. Okay, so that's my tip of the day. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just different than what we're used to. So for watercoloring, I want to color this Misty Moonlight. And I could smash the ink pad, but I already have some that I've put in here, some re-inker. And so I want to show you how I do that. So I just put a few drops of the re-inker, and then I just push where it says push. I give it a nice good squeeze. There's lots of water here, but then I can just kind of push that there, and it allows me to get a nice watercolor look going. So I try and stick with my darkest colors at the base of where the darker edges of the flower are going to be. And I also like to keep it moving as much as possible while I can, because sometimes if I get especially a darker image, then it's going to kind of leave a dark mark, and I don't want that either. So sometimes I just start out with a seam and go out, because as I get lighter, then it's going to look like it's catching your light spot that way too. And so I'm just going to keep kind of feathering that around like so. And just kind of keep coloring that in, and it doesn't really take too much time at all to do that. And I think sometimes people are just afraid of, what if I get too much or not? Well, you can see the amount of water that I added on there, so you can always go back and add more color to your flower too. Sometimes what I do is I try and leave lighter spots. So you can see even like there's like a little bit of a white spot and a white spot. And then sometimes what I do is I take that deeper color that I've hardly put any water on, and I just kind of go back along the edges like so, and it really kind of highlights some of those areas. And for every highlighted dark spot, sometimes it can make the lighter areas just really pop and look more impressive too. So I'm just going to put a little bit more here. Okay, so we've got that look going like so. So watercoloring can be really that easy. Hello, Ginger, thanks for joining in. And then when I'm done with this can be used for any color again, but so I just like to gently squeeze, push that ink out, and then the more I go back and forth with my brush, when it's clear, then I know it's good to go. And then for the inside there, I'll show you that technique that I just do a little push there. And this is a technique I use when I don't have such a large area as a whole flower. So that ink transfers on to the cover there. And then with the other brush, I could have used that too, but I just thought, oh, that way I know it's good to go and such. And so I'm just going to kind of dot on some crushed curry. Actually, this I should be able to hold and do this at the same time on the camera. We'll see. Yeah, I'm not Bob Ross, but see if I can at least show you what I'm doing kind of. So that just kind of fills in the rest of that. Like I like to dot it so that there's lighter and darker there. And I'm pulling in actually quite a bit of just the full strength dark. I didn't want this to fade out and look light yellow because it's such a deep blue. I wanted a nice bright yellow to kind of make that pop. And as it dries, it will fade out both colors and such. I'm just going to set this aside just to dry for a little bit. And as I do that, I'm going to work on my sentiment. And so that's the just saying hello. People keep telling me how many cards that they have been sending still, even though COVID's been around for a while, people still aren't going around. And so it's been nice to hear people are still sending cards. They're not forgetting about people. And I love hearing that. So the just saying hello is stamped in the Misty Moonlight. And that's a color that I did on the flower. And that is the only thing that I'm going to run through or use my Big Shot for. So I'm using the Tasteful Labels dies, and I've been using these guys a ton, so not all of them are in there, but I used this just yesterday. So Julie's card number 2, I have it right here. So if you remember, I used this for this. I'm going to use this again, but this card's not going to look at all like this. And this is kind of used as a layer. Well, today it's going to be the sentiment focal point there. Hi, Shelly. Thanks for joining in. So let me just grab my Big Shot here and center the just saying hello. I feel like I stamped it a little crooked, so I almost kind of want to put my sentiment or my label a little crooked, so that way I can have it be straight when it's all on its own. Okay, so when I pop this out there, so it makes such a nice, I love these labels dies just because they've got such a nice, easy going, easy flowing shapes to them. And then I love the stitched outline too. So that I'm just going to set aside as well. Okay, so now is the time where, when I do in-home parties, I'll get interaction from people. Hey, what are you doing this weekend? That type of thing, because I actually literally am going to cut out this flower. So yeah, so it's one of those things that I almost thought about doing ahead of time, or even just having the flower cut in the black shape image, and then fill it in with the color later. But I'm like, you know what? I think it helps you guys to know that, yes, I do cut out my images ahead of time. When you see my cards done online and such, there are scan and cut machines, and those are wonderful too. But sometimes some people are like, oh, you know what? Sometimes you do just need to cut out an image, and sometimes it isn't as hard as you think either. So yeah, and this one is pretty easy. I think my scissors needs to be sharpened a little bit. This is my scissors that I have labeled that's only used for paper. And I think it's starting to show how sad it is that it never sees ribbon because it's needing to be sharpened. Okay, so I'm almost done here. Not too much more to go. So just know, everybody though that orders through Julie's Party, they're going to get a hand stamp card from me that's going to have this flower cut out. So that's kind of like true love in the sense of a paper flower card. So there we go. So it's cut out, and I just leave like a little edging of white around there too. Okay, so now kind of is just the assembly part of it. And I wanted to have this not look so plain, even though I am a lover of neutral tones. I knew it needed just a little bit of pop, and I'm kind of stealing this idea from another demonstrator friend, Kylie from Australia. And I've met Kylie on some incentive trips, and she is just a bundle of energy, but I also always tend to love her style. So so I saw something like this, just changed up her color a little bit, and I like what she did. And what she did is took the stamp that is just a sprig of greenery, stamped it. I'm using Mellow Moss, and she stamped it right on the paper. So what I do before I do anything is I kind of lay this and go, okay, that's where I want my sentiment and my flower to be. So I know my greenery kind of has to be there. So I kind of quick imagine, quick lift off, remember where I want it to be, and do a stamp and a stamp. That's literally how I do that. And then I'm going to come back, and just with my new seal, I'm going to do a couple stripes of that. I'm going to leave this kind of hanging because I'm going to end up cutting that off. So I kind of want it to cover up some of the greenery, and I want to make sure that it's straight, which is sometimes I have to eye it, like, because I want it straight, but yet it curves itself. And then I'll just push that down. Sometimes it's almost easier to tell from the back side that it's straight because I have the equal number front on top and bottom showing there. And then what I do is just, because this has a nice edge, I take my scissor and just cut right along that edge with my scissor to get that evenly cut off of that extra. So I'm just cutting off this little bit off the side there, and then I can take my seal and just run that along the edges here as well. Okay, and then that's ready to go on my card like so. And then I'm just going to take some dimensionals here. So really, I feel like this was one of those cards that it did not take long to put together. I mean, probably the hardest thing was hand cutting the flower, if I had to, you know, guess or whatever, because I think there's so much that is added to the card with the beautiful designer series paper, that's what's kind of fun. So then I'll just kind of put this at an angle. First of all, I think that this looks like it's too sharp. I want to round the edge of that. It's kind of bugging me. And so I'm just going to kind of put that on as an angle. So we have that. And like I said, I think this would have looked pretty, but adding that sprig of greenery stamped right on that designer series paper really adds a lot to it. And I could follow through with that greenery. Trying to think if I want to put the greenery. So what I was gonna do, remember how I said I wanted to remember to use that? It would be kind of fun to put some of that greenery and then that, but I think I might just put some of this. And then what I'm going to do is just run this along there. And then I just always kind of leave a little gap of white on the bottom. And then I'll put that on. So it's kind of following through with the inside of the card to the outside like so. And so I'll just put some adhesive on there like so. Yeah, I've been stamping away and I still have not replaced my seal cartridge with another refill. So the stuff is amazing. I really like it. Still giving it great reviews. It has not let me down yet. And I can just tell it's a lot stickier without being annoyingly too sticky. Okay, so we have that and that too. So thank you, Shelly. And then I want to do one more thing, and you probably couldn't see when I held the card up close before because it's very subtle, but there's these new elegant faceted gems, and they go with the peony bundle. And so I'm pulling them kind of into this because I think the colors really match well. A lot of these papers, and I'm going to even show you because they're sitting right here, these In Good Taste textured papers, a lot of these will really match up well. So the lighting's kind of maybe a little off here, but I love that these pink gems will really fit in well with these, and kind of like a cream colored and a clear color white. It could be white. Sometimes it almost looks like vanilla in my craft room. And then the clear, of course, goes with a lot more things too. So normally what I say to you guys always is, oh, hi Pam, thank you, you too. When I'm putting my cards together and I go to put on embellishments, I always say, do like odd number, 3 is good. But today you're gonna see why I'm only using 2. Oops, oh, I do have my Take Your Pick tool. This is why I need my Take Your Pick tool. I'm gonna put it right back on there. Okay, and then try and, move it that way. Have much better success with that. Okay, so I'm just gonna put on 1 there and then 1 here. I'm putting on these 2 because I almost feel like when I'm working with this card, the 2 there are a nice little pop to make the card just look like it has something special added to it. And I just didn't feel like there was a good place to put a 3rd one. I could have put one there or there, but I almost feel like just the way the card is set up, that the flower is almost kind of an accent piece. So that's kind of like 1, 2, 3 in my mind. That's how I was seeing it today. And you might have a totally different look. And if you want to make your own card and make one of these, a 3rd one on there or something too, you could do that as well. But I just kind of liked the simpleness of adding those 2 to highlight that flower as well. So loving this paper, and it is a bigger pack. So if you go to look at it in the catalog and go, why is that this package $21 when the rest of them aren't normally that expensive? It's because you're getting a lot more paper with it too, which is always a good thing too. So there's that and that, and I think that's it for that card. Like I said, sometimes by the time I put it together, oops, I'm going to get moved around here. You guys can always see if my kids are home or not, because when I'm flipping it around, I'm usually showing you my front garage or something with the car. Okay, so yeah, so what I was saying with the cards, sometimes I never know how long my videos are actually going to be when I come out to do it live for you guys, because sometimes things can go really quick and easy in my craft room, so I know it's going to be a quick and easy card. Sometimes it takes a while for me, like today, it just took a while to figure out what kind of gray. Should I use basic gray? Should I use something else? And so I think I was surprised today how quick the card does come together for it looking like classy, just like Julie, my hostess, is. Okay, hi Lisa, thanks for joining in. So today was card number 3, so that wraps up Julie's virtual crafting party, our stamp party for her. And like I said, if you are interested in ordering using her code, I'm going to, after I'm done with this, post her card online, and I'll put her code, or you can always contact me. A lot of you prefer contacting me, and there are a lot of you that do that. Don't feel like you're the only one. And so I can help put your order in. And then you'll get the 3 cards from Julie's party from me as a thank you. And oh good, Julie, I'm glad that you like the card. And so then, like I said, next Monday, starting in the afternoons, I think afternoons just work best. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I will start my next virtual stamp party for my next host, Diane. So if you have any questions on anything, please let me know. And Julie there is telling me that she would like to probably close up by the end of next week. So if you do have some orders, do that then. And otherwise, it is Friday, so have a great weekend. I hope to get to spend some more time with my sweet grandchildren again, get little peeks. I already got to see them this morning, so feel pretty special about that too. So hopefully you guys have some fun plans, and we'll see you after the weekend. Take care.